You, as a viewer of my channel, are welcomed to my content like an esteemed member at the local gentleman's club. I take your order at the bar, I show you to your booth seat, and then I proceed to serve you some of the funniest and most offensive one-liners you've ever heard in your life directly into your mouth hole. All of which I can get away with because Americans deem me in the niche category of foreign, and therefore they hold me to a lower standard than themselves. Now, if you're wondering where I'm going with all of this, you're in luck, because so am I. Yeah, I kind of forgot to write the rest of the intro and built the video around it. Yeah. Check out my newly revamped YouTube memberships, there's more content on our end and cheaper, okay, bye. We here at Lon'qudor do bad things because someone's got to. In a world of whimsy and joy, somebody has to be the malice and hatred. We endorse big business, we approve of Activision Blizzard's hiring standards, and we think consumers are greedy, which is completely unrelated to why today I have fed several of my most popular video titles to ChatGPT, and we're going to be creating some AI-generated Marvel Rivals video ideas. I did that all on one breath. That was not very clever. Our results have ranged anywhere from tomfoolery to 15% less tomfoolery, which is good news for me as it means I only have to park 15% of my foot up Guang Guang's arse. So allow me, the Quador, to deliver the funnies directly into your sphincter muscles so you don't have to. Holy word salad, Batman. This was by far the best response ChatGPT gave me. Just sit down, forget everything you know. The amount of times me and my mates have threatened to destroy each other's career over the yards of blackmail we have on each other is and will always be funny, and to see ChatGPT sharing this view is even funnier. I mean, I always knew Thor was a fan of Agatha memes, but I didn't think it would be career-ending. How do you even get a response like this out of several videos comparing shooters to Pokemon types? That's gotta be harder than finding a furry who has two happily married parents. How I'm going to respond to this title is that I have now taken on Galacta's role as the judge, jury, and executioner of all human resources across the multiverse, and I've picked out for you a small handful of heroes who would have consequences anywhere from being expunged from the time stream entanglement to swinging in the streets if their DMs went public. Let us begin. Dear anyone who genuinely thinks Rocket would have a semblance of a future left after the DMs go live. In the description, you will find this PNG of Zelda. Kindly print it off, shove it up your backside, and write a punchline for this segment yourself. Rocket's DMs aren't just going to be full of Mars gooning and robo-edging. There's going to be alien beheadings and space crack recipes here. Our Freddy Little Fazbear is a man with a vision. Unfortunately for everyone though, it's an absolutely terrible one. This is going to end in mugshots too, and you know they're going to be really funny. Hit lists, illegal trading grounds, vivisections, I don't know, illegal underground gloving sessions. These are the kinds of things I'd imagine Rocket is both receiving and distributing in DMs. Sick bastard. Dearly tolerated, we're gathered here today to mourn the unplugging of our favourite clanker with a soft A. Blatantly racist is all I have to say about Ultron. Okay, no, that's a lie. I have a bit more to say. Biological life forms, inferior technological life forms, and Mantis, for some reason, I really don't know what the beef is here. Our favourite number-crunching chrome domer doesn't discriminate in which curbs he bites. He's probably responsible for the entire group chat leak to begin with. Saying he was even invited to the time stream entanglement to begin with is probably a bit of a stretch. But after we here at Corporate have seen his personal DMs, we've decided to melt him down and twist his metal into the finest rings money could buy. Available now at your local Tesco's. For this entire segment to work, you kind of have to squint. And by squinting, I mean forgetting that we're fighting across all of the multiverses against two wankers, and just pretend this is like an office or something. Now, out of all of the colleagues in the office, would you trust the one who spends his entire lunch break tracking criminal gangs and plotting their painful demises? Or would you rather spend time with the colleagues who make people healthier just by breathing on them? More screws loose than your average Boeing airplane, more violent tendencies than your average Revenant main. He's probably tracking, packing, and stacking social media accounts of criminals over several different platforms, and the same minute we at HR get to see his DMs is probably the same minute we're having dirt shoveled onto our faces. Workplace relationships are interesting. Interesting to the point where they're not really allowed in any respectable working space, but I raised the wager by asking you to find me a respectable working space. Galacta seems to be relatively fine with these two being married and involved in the conflict together. That's not really the point I'm getting at here. What I'm saying is that as a young married couple, these two's DMs are going to be full of more bushes than 2001 America. You just know Gambit's been trying to shove his share in between every other message. And whatever the hell this is on top of Rogue is telling telling me that things aren't going to be too different on the other side. I mean, I sometimes turn on my computer by pinking and stinking the power button with one of the USB cords, but that's the kind of thing you should keep to yourself and not share online. I sure hope Gambit likes his meat well seen, because once the pictures go live, everyone's going to want to have a nibble. Damn, why am I so good at script writing? If you or a loved one are currently hiring potential Quidors to write scripts, here's my email, message me. Okay, I was fully ready to wrap up this segment. My finger is on the stop recording button right now, and then I just remembered that this prick exists, and then I just remembered that this prick exists. I don't like Namor. End of sentence. But I'll spend 5 nights at Freddy's before I believe there both isn't a plan to kill Reed Richards and kidnap Sue Storm, hidden somewhere in the DMs of Namor's shell phone. If there are any genuine Namor fans watching this, first of all, stare at this image for a few seconds. And then could you genuinely just tell me why he's like this? This character genuinely makes me hopeful that DC will buy out this game in the future and just replace him with the surfing Joker. That would be infinitely better than what we currently have. Winding down this section, I actually think this is a really funny idea for a video. Comparing this to how likely I would be to make this into a full video on the Walter scale of greatness, I'm going to give this idea a 7.5 Walter points out of 10. This next video idea is going to need some explaining, as I promise you it is one of dozens. Boobs is a dish best served my mouth, and so when a brigade of plump video ideas come bouncing towards me, I just can't help myself. For some reason, ChatGPT was obsessed with the idea of pockets and being caught with things in said pockets, and I really don't know why. I am confident it's a fetish. The one I have chosen to represent all 29 pocket-related answers I was given is ranking Marvel Rivals characters by pocket-to-body ratio, and so I sat down with a warm cup of tea and counted up every single pocket on every single hero on every single skin. This entire adventure took me a whopping... Okay, that's not a very long amount of time. The sole goal here was to find the winning character who has the most amount of pockets in the least amount of skins. We have 45 pantaloon stuffed fellows in this game all starving for that chicken dinner, so let us review the top 5. Numbers 6 and 5, Moon Knight and Squirrel Girl. Allow me to now commence my usual verbal display of herding stray cats as I attempt to make a segment entirely dedicated to ratio statistics and pockets humorous. Both of these characters have 14 pockets spread across 8 skins. That's an average of 1.8 pockets per skin rounded to the nearest decimal place. What we are defining here as a pocket is a small enclosed space tightly attached to one's person. So these little combat pouches attached to several characters' belts count, along with small satchels, yet big clunky external bags and gun holsters do not. Moon Knight's random BS belt has completely carried him in this instance, along with Squirrel Girl's double cheek pouches. Keeping your nuts in your pants can be quite difficult when you're jumping around at the heights that she does, so bringing a few extra pockets here and there to keep your junk strapped down is probably a good idea. Herding stray cats, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4, Hawkeye. 13 pockets across 7 skins. This means exactly 2 things for Squirrel Girl and Moon Knight. They can 1, get bent, and 2, the hell over themselves. Hawkeye's average of 1.9 pockets per skin is sponsored by the concept of human cybernetic mutilation, as his binary arrow skin is by far doing the heavy lifting here. You're more likely to find a pocket on the end of your local stabbing knife than on a man who considers the vast variety of arrowheads he carries more important than the dates of his kids' birthdays. And isn't that just really wacky and silly? Number 3, the Winter Soldier. 14 pockets across 7 skins. This means exactly 2 things for Hawkeye. He can 1, get off, and 2, with himself. The server admin's asymmetry on his default skin's trousers have really screwed him over here, as I was fully expecting him to have like loads of combat pouches, but no. And then also whatever the hell this is taking up the room of where most of them could go. You'd think with all of the money he's made by blackmailing the devs of this game into not sledgehammer nerfing him, he could afford lots of really nice pockets. But if I had to make a guess, I'd assume he's going to divest 5 billion in funds to Invisreal. Number 2, the Punisher. 30 pockets across 7 skins. I don't know why I said that like a Watch Mojo video. The Punisher appears on yet another list, and no, I'm not talking about that one. 30 pockets across 7 skins is where boys become men, or in Elden Ring Night Rain terms, the second you put down I and pick up Guardian. Do bullet bandoliers not exist in this universe? Is that why he has so many pockets? It's either that, or he's carrying several pictures of his family in his pockets and storing the rest of his bullets in his cheeks like a hamster. I really thought 30 pockets was the most we were going to get out of anybody, but then I remembered that there's one great big bastard who has 3 different form changes and an obsession with what's in his pants. Number 1, Banner and Hulk, 44 pockets across 6 skins. That's an average of 7.3 pockets per skin. The default skin alone for Tom, Dick and Harry has 8 pockets on it. Monster Hulk tends to lose a few pockets here and there, but he quite consistently has the back too. Combine that with the fact that the Joe Fixit skin has 16 pockets alone, means that these 3 are crowned with the shared achievement of wasting my goddamn time. I like this video idea more than the previous one we covered. Granted, there's a lot less wiggle room when it comes to joke making, and the last thing Marvel Rivals players would ever want to do is count beyond the level of a 2-year-old, but this one just kind of speaks to me as like an April Fool's kind of idea, and well, it seems to speak to ChatGPT as well. I'm going to give this video idea a solid 8.5 Walter points out of 10, and I'm not just going to hand out scores like that too easily. Sunday evening, late December, AI's on holiday. I ask Mr. GPT for some prompts, he tells me to throw hands. A quick once over on the roster could tell you that I, a relatively broad-shouldered Englishman, would be flattened, torn up and used for toilet paper by 90% of the characters in this game. I don't have Batman levels of money, and neither do I have his prep time. But that being said though, there are 3 characters in this game I think I could punch from here all the way to the county line. It's your job, as my dear viewer, to let me know whether you think I've cooked to perfection or burnt the turkey so bad that not even America wants the oil running off it. After rolling up my knuckles and cracking my sleeves, I've decided that Cloak and Dagger is where I want to start my crusade to become the one above all. Cloak looks like a strong breeze could take him away, Dagger looks like she could be easily folded into a box and floated down the river. Simple as that. I've already planned out how I'm going to counteract their powers and everything. If Dagger's going to try and heal me to death, then no she isn't, and if Cloak sends me to the Shadow Dimension, I'm gonna do this. I don't see myself losing this at all, I've got this in the bag. These 2 are about as dead as modern SpongeBob, as my violent British disposition is going to carry me to victory like an Australian Prime Minister carries an extra pair of trousers to McDonald's. Whenever I'm not trying to solve the longitude problem, I'm probably expressing my disappointment with how Blade, the only British character in Marvel Rivals, has basically become American over the past 30 years. The fault of which probably lands on this film, which is a really big shame as I like it a lot. Anyway, with Blade being born in Soho, London, this is about the most even matchup we're gonna get. You know, if you ignore the gun and the swords. Oh yeah, and the fact that he's half a vampire. How I propose this fight to go is on my terms. Central London streets, puffer jackets, flat caps, shanks. We duke it out until one of us can't feel our anything anymore, and the winner gets a half-empty bottle of WKD Blue and the other one's wife. Trust me, it's gonna be huge. I'm already selling tickets. So, fun fact about Lon'qudor, I used to actually fell trees and chop logs back home. Granted, the trees were sometimes pylons, and the home in question was a bin, but this country should appreciate honest work, so it comes as no shock to me when I say to myself that I could definitely take Groot on. I've been needing a new coffee table, kitchen counter, and scarecrow, and I think Groot has enough foliage to provide me with a 3-in-1. I already snapped off his wood years ago and carved it into an axe handle, and it's missing a blade, but I think his fat head could be shaped down into what I need. Oh, sorry, I meant to play that later in the video. Oh, I'm gonna keep that in, that's funny. If you want to consider what I've said about Groot to be gore of your comfort character, then well done for making everything about you. You must have loads of friends and everyone wants you to live forever. But I think it's all true, and I think it's gonna be really funny tomorrow when Rocket wakes up to find the remains of Groot propped up on a cinder block. In retrospective of this video idea, I'd like to give an honourable mention to a character who I think anyone could take out. If you were to take anyone with 2 functioning arms and half a brain and place them at the top of a long flight of stairs with Adam Warlock, I think anyone could take him out. Nettie's Marvel Rivals Adam Warlock specifically, because he sucks. Just tip him out of his wheelchair and he'll find his way to the ground floor eventually. This idea is probably the worst one we've covered. Not because it's not funny, but because if I was to make an entire 8-minute video talking about the 3 characters in this game I could take on in a fight, I'd have to stretch out my brutal descriptions on how I'd murder them all for 2 minutes and 42 seconds each, which is, well, it's not a bad idea actually. Regardless, I'm going to give this idea, the lowest scoring of the video, a solid 5 Walter points out of 10. Incredible stuff. It's at this point I'd like to remind you that videos like this are the reason why RAM is now so expensive. I have single-handedly contributed to the crashing of the GPU and RAM market, and I feel nothing about it. But anyway, enough about me. Let's declare war on Sweden. So, what is the best way to quantify what heroes would be banned from an IKEA? Why, with an IKEA banning scale, of course. So this is our scale here, and what we are going to be doing is placing all of the characters in the game as of the end of Season 5.5 along our scale from Sweden to Denmark. Any character up until here is just completely safe and I'd allow them anywhere at all. These characters are probably going to be ones carrying weaponry, which if they leave their weapons at home they'd be absolutely fine. If they don't, we're going to have a big problem. These ones are going to be characters who would need supervision in order to be in the IKEA. And then these ones are just the ones that shouldn't be allowed anywhere near an IKEA at all. You might wonder why Sweden, why Denmark? IKEA is obviously Swedish, and apparently they hate the Denmarkians. Either that or Sandy Toxfix is a lying bitch, so I'm not really too sure, but I'm going to be going off what I've heard on QI. So let's start off with some super safe choices. So by far the safest character I think would be Mr. Fantastic, followed by maybe Penny. And then we can put Iron Fist up there as well. Penny can just simply leave the spider mech in the car park, so that would be fine. Mr. Fantastic is fairly normal. And then characters who can control their powers completely are going to be put up here as well. We'll throw Iron Man and Black Panther up here as well, because these two characters are just guys. Obviously Black Panther has some enhancements, but they're just normal people that can leave their things at home. Luna Snow can control her powers completely. So can Emma Frost, so she's going to be going up there as well. Adam Warlock is a safe guy, so he can hang out. And then Mantis, despite the fact that she's an alien, you know, she's relatively normal. I mean, yeah, she's a bit freaky, but that's fine. Let's do some characters on the complete opposite end of the spectrum now. Scarlet Witch should not be allowed near any IKEA, she is incredibly dangerous. Combine that with Phoenix and the Phoenix Force. Ultron 2, he should not be allowed near any technology. And I'm even going to extend that olive branch of evilness to Magneto. Banner, and more specifically Hulk, are incredibly risky to have in public settings, especially crowded ones, high-stress environments, so he's not going to be going anywhere near there either. Hela is just a nasty prick, so she's going up there too. Loki can turn invisible, make clones of himself, and do it with horses, so I wouldn't allow that in an IKEA if I were a manager. And then pets as well. Pets are not typically allowed in most IKEAs. We're going to bounce back and forth between the two ends here. Let's cover some characters who would be absolutely fine if they left all of their weapons at home. I'm going to move Black Panther into that category as well. We're going to put Spider-Man up there because he's nice, you know, he likes people. Hawkeye is going to be going in the category of characters who carry weaponry that can just leave them at home. Same with Star-Lord, same with Blade. Now this category over here is the characters who would need supervision to be allowed in an IKEA. And this is where we are putting anyone else we haven't talked about who has on-demand invisibility. I'm also going to put Squirrel Girl in this category as well, because again, pets are not typically allowed in IKEAs, yet if she's supervised just to make sure that she didn't bring Tippy Toe with her, I think that will be alright. I'm going to put Storm up here as well, just because she is an incredibly strong mutant. And I'm also going to put Magic there as well, because on-demand teleportation, and obviously she goes ape mode. Why not put Thor there as well, just because of electrical signals interfering with technology? And I'm also going to put Rogue there, because, you know what happens when she gets touchy. Going back to the banning side, we're going to start to use the top here. Angela, I would not really allow in an IKEA at all, on the basis that she is not wearing anything. Same with Wolverine and same with Bucky actually, because as Wolverine describes, the pair of them are living weapons, and that's, you know, kind of difficult to deal with. Moon Knight is a genuine schizophrenic, so I'm going to put him there as well. Same with the Punisher. Doctor Strange is interesting. You could cause a lot of chaos. I'm going to put you there for now, but that might change. Human Torch should not be allowed near any wood-based structures, because he is reckless and hot-headed. Trees are usually sold in IKEA. That's probably his equivalent to like slave labour, and he wouldn't be very happy with that, so I would not allow him in the IKEA at all. The Thing, kind of on the same beat. He's large, he's clumsy, he's dusty. I think he could be monitored, but it would probably be best to have him in an IKEA with no other people. Venom, absolutely not. You're evil. Namor and Gambit, our final two heroes. Namor can, you know, leave his weaponry at home. That won't be a problem. I'm going to move him to the same tiering as Squirrel Girl, actually, because, well, you know, that's just kind of what we're dealing with. If he's monitored and we make sure he didn't bring any of his underlings with him, then we're all good to go. And finally, Gambit, you can ignite stuff, you can control your powers sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Angela down there on the basis of nudity. You two are going here because you're both living weapons. You're a schizophrenic, and you're a chill guy, so I'm going to put you there. And overall, I'm relatively happy with this ranking, actually. I think there would definitely be some questioning about Adam going into an Ikea because he is very gold. This line here sort of bleeds into this line here in terms of characters that can leave their weaponry at home. Obviously Mantis can't do that, but she is very safe. And overall, unless there is something I have missed, or you are screaming at the screen telling me there is something I have missed, I'm relatively happy with this. I think we'll call that there. So I didn't write an ending for this segment. I'm not really too sure why. Maybe I thought I'd bleed into the next one. I don't know. Here's an SFM animation I found the other day that made me laugh. Whilst this video idea is cheeky, I think it would just be better as a tier list posted to Reddit or something. So I'm going to give this idea the relatively average Walter Point score of a 6 out of 10. And there you have it, another entry in a video series that blind people would probably describe as disappointing. If I've learnt anything from making this video, it's that netties would rather decorate Sue Storm like a plasterer's radio than give banner mains anything to look forward to in the future. And also that my newly revamped and cheaper YouTube membership service is currently live, so you want stuff? I got stuff, go check it out. So until the day comes when Daredevil gets a skin with a huge pair of googly eyes, my name is Lon'qudor, party rockers rejoice, and remember there is no timeline where Johnny Test yields.